just I'm getting myself ready.
And the next person should be ready so that we don't waste time. Ryan, you want to be the next? Okay, raise your hand if you want to be the next so that I just pick them from the raised hands. Assignment 1. Okay, Moeli Angundo is the next one. Another one. Keep the hand raised until I tell you to do it. Another one for assignment 1. If there is no other, after Moeli, we will go to assignment 2. Gregory, we are waiting for you. Otherwise, we will give the chance to somebody else.
Excuse me, sir. Can I raise my hand for assignment 2?
Yeah, raise your hand if you are ready. Yes. Yes. I've seen 4 people now. Gregory will give us the opportunity to move here to present because you don't seem to be ready.
Okay. Let me just share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Remove all these infinity things.
Okay. Let me just share the quantum presentation slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
please move, and you have only 5 minutes.
Yes. So my presentation was on quantum computing. These are my sources. So quantum computing, I'll just briefly go over the definition. It refers to the utilization of quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition and processes in the creation of computing systems and devices. That's what quantum computing is.
But you don't have to read. You just tell us.
Yes.
Yes.
So quantum computing refers to the use of quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition in the creation of computing systems and computing devices. Superposition is a very advanced concept that happens in very small, tiny scales, in atomic scales, and it is the use of such phenomena that we use to create computing devices. So some of the positive impacts of quantum computing on Kenyan organizations, some of them include enhanced data protection. The quantum computers, unlike classical computers, are able to break the SHA encryption algorithm. So, based on this, a scientist known as Peter Shaw created a quantum key distribution data protection algorithm that is immune to this ability for quantum computers to break that encryption. So it offers enhanced data protection for Kenyan organizations. Although quantum computing is still in its developmental stages, if it is developed further, it will be able to provide enhanced data protection. Another one is improved financial services. Quantum computers are able to analyze vast data sets at once due to the ability for them to utilize qubits. Qubits are like classical bits. Classical bits are zeros and ones, but qubits are both zeros and ones at the same time. So you're able to perform operations at a vastly less time, than classical computers. Another one is boosting agricultural productivity. Modeling weather systems is very hard for classical computers to do, but due to the ability for quantum computers to model vast data sets or model complex systems much better than classical computers, they will be able to predict weather patterns easily. Another one is fostering innovations. Quantum computing is still early, and we don't know where it is going to go or its ability moving forward. And this can provide a lot of space for computer scientists and other individuals to think about any applications they can put quantum computing into. So from that, we can move on to the negative impacts of quantum computing on Kenyan organizations. These include threat to data security. This is obviously due to the ability for the quantum computers to break the encryption algorithms that we widely use nowadays. This is because majority of the encryption algorithms rely on prime numbers and prime number multiplications, which is very hard for classical computers to do. It would take approximately millions of years for the most advanced supercomputer to do, but a quantum computer can do it in minutes. So there's the threat to data security, high implementation costs. It is very, very difficult nowadays to create a quantum computer. It is extremely expensive. The cost runs into billions of dollars because of the high technology that is involved. Disruption. Nowadays, quantum computers are not that widely used compared to classical computers, and we don't know yet the effects of integrating quantum computers into our society, what that will do, the jobs losses it might lead to, and other things. There's also the energy consumption. Quantum computers rely on very, very low temperatures to operate. They require very low temperatures to operate, and maintaining these low temperatures requires a lot of energy. So there's a lot of energy consumption that goes into the utilization of quantum computers. There's also the uncertain, right now we don't have a certain regulatory environment which could lead to harmful consequences. We don't yet have any laws concerning quantum computers and their
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
So yeah, that can lead to bad applications of it. Yeah. If I were hired in an organization as a quantum research scientist, this is what I would do to realize positive impacts of quantum computing in an organization, implementing the quantum key distribution algorithm to enhance data protection. I would also use the quantum computers' improved data processing capabilities to enable the company or the organization to handle its businesses faster, develop quantum processors, and also to handle any complex calculations that the organization might need. Another thing, the mitigating the negative impacts. So what I would do is lobby for increased regulation and the associated technologies, lobby for government to create laws concerning any gray areas that the quantum computers might infiltrate on. Another one is pursuing government grants and subsidies to help mitigate the high initial startup costs. Another one is because quantum computers might lead to disruption in workforce, like maybe it might lead to loss of jobs. We can train and educate workers to help them cope with that. And then another one, the high initial startup costs can be leveraged by use of cloud computing to enable people to utilize quantum resources.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In reviewing quantum computing, what did you learn? What is the most significant lesson that you learned?
I learned that there's a lot of potential for quantum computing to improve our lives currently. I also learned that there's also a lot of potential for quantum computing to disrupt our lives and end privacy. Because, for example, if organizations such as governments get to utilize the quantum computing, they can break the encryption that helps protect our messages. As we send messages, they can be able to view it will be an end to privacy. So what I've realized is that quantum computing is just a tool like anything else. It depends on how people use it moving forward. And I've also realized that we also need to regulate it a lot because there's a lot of potential for it to both benefit and harm. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Is it something you would want to get into in the future?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We shall move to somebody else. We shall move to Gregory. Are you ready this time?
Not if someone else can present. I have an issue with the
Okay,
internet in
Mutuku
the
Alex. Please proceed.
Yes. Okay. All right, so I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, so
5 minutes.
for assignment 2, in my case,
It's
supposed to give
assignment 1.
assignment 2.
You have you are presenting assignment 2.
Yes, I think for assignment 1, everyone has presented except Gregor.
Okay, not everybody are represented, but you proceed.
All right, okay. So for assignment 2, it was ethical and social issues in AI, in information systems, and for some where everyone was attached. So for me, my industrial attachment was at Tech Savannah, which is a company in Westlands, Nairobi. So Tech Savannah actually develops software that is different various software for companies or other organizations, and one of them that they develop is Savannah Human Resource Management Systems that is based on the Frappe Human Resource System. So some of the features were payroll operations, employee onboarding. You could do performance tracking for your employees, and also self-service such as applying for leaves and whatnot. So those are some of the functions that the software was doing.
Yeah, move faster, move
So,
faster.
all right, so for ethical and social issues, I think for the overall information systems, we did this. So I'll just jump to focus on the ones that
Your slides are not
were,
moving. Can you move your slides?
and how about now?
Yeah. Now it's moving.
Okay, so all right, so for the ethical and social issues, I just moved to the ones that actually are specific to the Savannah information systems, because the ones that cover overall information systems, you cover them in class. So basically, most of them are the Savannah Human Resource System. It holds a lot of employees' data. So it has a lot of sensitive information of the employees. So those are some of the risks of data privacy and security in case of the information leaks and all that, how much someone earns, if someone earns more than their colleague and whatnot. There's also bias and performance management, in the sense that some people could be promoted and have earn higher salaries than actually people in the same level. So if they ever find out something like that, depending on the negotiation skills, then that's also a problem. And surveillance in the terms of how employees are coming in, clocking in, and whatnot. So most of the employees would actually kind of find that that's kind of infringing on their privacy, how they are coming, what time they are leaving, and whatnot. And lack of also transparency is how the data is being used, like what the company is doing with the personal data of the employees and so on. So how can we mitigate some of those issues that have actually stated? So one of them is actually you'd have like a transparency first kind of approach in designing the system, in the sense that the privacy of the employee comes first in terms of how you come up with the human resource management system, so that if how the data is being handled for the employee, they actually know and are aware of it. And in terms of employee privacy, you could actually encrypt most of the data and control how it's being accessed. The people who actually have access to some of that data in terms of roles, like so and so can actually access the data, and another person cannot access that data. So, and in terms of tracking, like if the employees at Savannah are not actually informed of how their data is being used, and in terms of like you are clocking in at this time, you are leaving at this time. It can create a sense of mistrust. So, but if you inform them, then at least it becomes kind of they are aware of how their data is being used in that. So I think those are for me the issues that I saw and where I was attached at. So I don't know whether there are any questions. Can you guys hear me? Or
Yes.
was I talking to myself?
It's all right.
Okay.
I think Prof dropped off somewhere in between your presentation, just after he said your slide are moving.
Oh, okay.
Can I go ahead and present? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, let's just wait so that I get done, so that if I'm starting all over, then I can start and just be done.
So,
Alex,
Yes.
I wanted to ask that HRM system.
Yes.
I hope you didn't sign an NDA because I heard you mention data like demographic data, but were they using things like keyloggers?
No. They don't. It's actually an open source system based on, I think, Frappe HRM. Yes. So actually anyone can
Frappe.
actually design it. Yes, exactly.
Oh, nice.
So everyone can actually design it. It's open source. So really once you customize it for a client, then that's it. So you
Yeah.
don't, there are no NDA issues and all that. It's not from the ground up.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yes,
Welcome.
Mutiko, I was asking, I found I was muted.
Yes, okay.
I was asking, what did you learn from doing this exercise of
All right,
assignment?
for me, okay, mostly actually from the whole industrial attachment, it's that the technical bits that we learn from school really, they are like second to how you deal with customers and how you interact with them, because in most of those meetings I had, most of them would tell you this and then tomorrow they want something else different, and you just have to agree with them, and then tomorrow now they have different requirements and so forth and so forth.
So you experienced firsthand the challenges
Yes,
in implementing
dealing with
information systems.
customers, exactly. Yes.
What about this assignment on the social and ethical issues? Do you learn anything
All right.
from?
Yes, most like from where I was attached, it's that I think the implementation of that, the Data Protection Act, it's yet to pick up, and most organizations, even where I was, are still struggling with how to implement them, unless because where I was, there was no data officer yet, so I felt that there's still something to be done, yes, to come up and I don't know, align with the act and have those privacy issues handled.
Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We will move to Ahmed. Ahmed, please,
Okay.
so I got it ready.
who is this speaking now?
Gregory.
Gregory, okay. If you are ready, then move. You have 5 minutes. Okay, we can see
Can
your
you
slide.
guys see my
Minutes.
screen? Okay.
Yes.
So I was researching on cloud computing. This was part of the first assignment together with Tevin. Also did the same thing. Yes. So cloud computing, for me, what I learned was cloud computing is a fairly recent technology, and most organizations are getting to adopt it to be able to catch up as it's being adopted in more recent ways of operations. So it's on demand. Like everyone was their systems running on the cloud, and some who have their systems running on premise want to do it either on the cloud or do both to support what is it called, that kind of backup. Yeah. So we know how a cloud operates. So you have an internet. You're using internet-based servers, and you can have all your operations running from there without being on premise, as seen on this particular image. And the servicing on the other side is taken care of by your vendor, and you can do your application, host it there, and be able to work from wherever the organization is, or wherever the employees or whoever trying to access the services. So there is a positive impact on the Kenyan organizations. One is cost reduction in terms of you do not have to do all the setups at the same time. You can just pay, and you're able to load your applications and the databases into the cloud and use them. The scalability is easy, as you only need to probably change your tier of operation. Maybe if you are given the previous tier was smaller and you need more, you just need to change your tier, and you can be able to access more resources just on the cloud without necessarily going through the hassle of buying new stuff. And then improved accessibility, especially for remote work, which is really the thing now for most organizations. And then there is enhanced innovation, because with the cloud computing, there has come around enhanced innovation in terms of there are things like currently things to do with VPNs to ensure security in terms of your organization's data and who can access it. Even if your employees are accessing it remotely, you can be able to access it safely without any issue. And then, so there are still challenges of cloud computing in Kenya, and the fact that there is that sort of internet dependency, and some of the organizations feel like their data is not really secure because you are giving it you are storing it somewhere, and someone will be seeing that particular space for you. So there is an issue around security in cloud computing. And then there is a skill gap in terms of there are people with skills to do some of these things, but usually you will not like certain if that is the exact thing that you know what you want, but in case of things like data breaches and attacks, it's not really certain how the service that can be done, like can be mitigated. And then there is implementation strategy for Kenyan companies to ensure a successful cloud adoption. There could be assess current infrastructure, developing a cloud strategy, which will help organizations. Maybe part of the strategy could be informing them of the pros and cons of having your services in the cloud. And we have helping people maybe, and informing them in terms of selecting their right provider. There are big companies and some are starting companies. So for organizations to choose exactly where they would like to run their who they would like their vendors to be. And then ensuring data security. There will be need for
1 minute.
there'll be need for implementation of a good structure to ensure that your data is secure, even if it's on the cloud. Maybe an example is proper encryption. Yeah, so just to conclude, cloud computing is very significant and has brought about so many opportunities for Kenyans and Kenyan organizations to grow. And then a well-planned cloud computing strategy for an organization will have a net positive impact if it is well done in this current world. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. That's it. Okay. If you go back to the challenges,
Yes.
This security issue,
Yeah.
is this a perception or is this reality? Because one of the things cloud service providers focus on is security. So I don't know whether this is a perception that data is secure in the cloud, or is a reality.
Okay, it's what I got to learn is it's a general perception amongst organizations to feel like it's somewhere remotely, and you partly somehow do not have like an enclosure to who can access it and who not. Like there's some sort of mistrust to maybe a little mistrust to the vendors and how they might be able to during the servicing or
You must reflect it. If that is the case, then you must reflect it as a perception.
All right.
Because in reality, cloud service providers take a lot of care to make sure that the data is very secure. Probably it's even more secure than your on-prem servers. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else asking a question?
And the reason why I had this was there's some companies like Carriz, they propose to have a locally on-premise server around here in Nairobi, where because of the nature of the information that can be stored there. So there was an argument around it. That's why I thought I should have it. Yeah, which I think was a perception. I need to still put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other question? Okay. If there is no other question, thank you very much. We will move to Ahmed. You can stop presenting.
Okay.
Ahmed,
I'm having a small issue. I'll solve it right now.
we cannot see anything.
Okay, let me solve it quickly right now. Okay, now. Can you see my screen?
It's coming. Yes, we can see.
Okay. Okay. My name is Warfa Ahmed, and the information system will be discussing is AI knowledge management system. During my industrial attachment, I did not work directly with any information system. My focus was primary on LLM, but since AI KMS mostly involves LLMs, I would like to discuss about AI KMS. So AI KMS, I'll start with the meaning for knowledge management system or KMS. It's a tool used to gather, organize, and share the knowledge within an organization that needs funds so that it can function efficiently. And this ensures valuable insight and data are easily accessible when making decisions, so that drives innovation. And now, when we introduce artificial intelligence to knowledge management system, it enhances the system capability. And AI KMS doesn't just store data; it can automatically process large amount of information, uncover patterns, and also suggest insight that would otherwise take a human much longer to find. And also, AI KMS uses technologies like machine learning and natural language processing, like large language models. As for how it works. How does AI KMS actually work? It works with data collection and analysis. It gathers data from sources like emails, documents, and databases and analyzes it for trend and insight. And also for it also used for automated knowledge discoveries. It identifies patterns, org, organize information for
Can you move a bit,
easily
can you move a bit
for
faster?
easy. Okay. Okay. This is AI KMS work also with recommendation system, like learning and improvement, and also it can also be applied in healthcare businesses and multinational corporation to help employees across different locations to share information. And example of existing system are also like Salesforce, Einstein AI Guru, and Document 360. As for the ethical and social issues in information system, um, uh, there's privacy, data security, and bias and fairness. Accountability. This is defining who is responsible for the issues and job displacement. Um, as for ethical issues and fairness, privacy bias in AI KMS system, particularly in sectors like healthcare or businesses, it handles large amount of sensitive data. If not properly managed, this data, such as patent record or business information, could be mishandled, exposed, leading to severe privacy violation. And in bias, AI systems mostly are trained on data, and those data contain biases. The AI will replicate them. For example, if an organization using AI KMS for performance review, if the data is historically biased against certain group, the AI might make unfair recommendations like promoting fewer women or let's say minority. Ensuring fairness in this system is crucial also. And for that, job loss in AI KMS, while improving efficiency, could also lead to job displacement as the system could automate knowledge work. Roles that previously required human oversight may be replaced. This could lead to fewer opportunities for middle management or administrative roles. And in transparency, one of the challenges in AI system is black box problem, where the uh, it, uh, one of the problem is black box uh, problem where the decision making process isn't clear. In an AI KMS, if the system misclassifies data or makes incorrect recommendations, it could be difficult to trace why it made those errors. So lack of transparency makes it harder. And also for security, AI KMS are attractive target to cyber attack since it manages sensitive information. A, a successful attack could compromise the data integrity and lead to misinformation. And this particularly um, is dangerous in sectors like healthcare, where incorrect data could lead to harmful decisions which may affect the patient. And lastly, if I were a information system manager, here's how that I would mitigate those ethical and social issues. For data privacy and consent to mitigate privacy risk, I would implement strict protocols and controls to ensure compliance with regulations like Data Protection Act, and this means securing consent for data use and also protecting sensitive data where applicable. And for bias, I will do bias auditing. I will address the bias. As addressing bias requires regular auditing of AI KMS to check for unfair patterns. By using diverse data set and applying ethical AI framework, we can minimize bias and ensure the system make decisions that are fair and equitable and that are fair for all users. For transparency, to ensure to solve the transparency issue, I would push for use of explainable AI. This would allow users to understand how the AI arrived to cutting decisions and recommendations, like in the black box nature of AI systems. And for job retraining, while automation lead to job
Need to move
displacement,
faster and finish.
okay, for job retraining, I would have the employees be trained to work along with the AI system, so that instead of being replaced by it, they will be supervising and improving the system. And for accountability, a clear accountability will be established. This is include assigning specific roles within the organization responsible for AI system. Like if a data scientist is responsible for the issue, or the person who developed the system, they'll be able to take account. They'll be able to take account of their. They'll be able to take responsibility. And these are the conclusions and the references.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Go back to where the challenges you highlighted some of this, the social and ethical issues. Yes. Backwards, back, go up. Yes, this one of security. I want to ask this one of security. Why? Next slide. Next slide. Yes, stay there. Security. Why should AI knowledge management system be more vulnerable to cyber attacks than other ordinary systems? What is the reason?
Because let's say, for example, in healthcare, if the system has been compromised and maybe the data have been like the attacker have made changes to the data, and the system may make incorrect maybe
I'm asking.
decision.
No, I am asking. What
Mhm.
makes AI knowledge management systems more vulnerable to cyber attacks than other systems?
Because most of them have sensitive information from the company, for companies.
But who says that ordinary systems do not have sensitive data?
They do.
That you're using AI does not necessarily mean that you have more sensitive data than ordinary systems that are non-AI based.
Because AI KMS is like a knowledge management system, but you put AI on, you integrate AI to it. So the reason why I put security is because of knowledge management system that are used in and healthcare organization, and because they have patent data and patent information, and
I'm
because they
struggling.
have they may have patent
I'm struggling.
information
But
and patent data.
I'm struggling to understand your argument, but let me find out whether there's anybody else with any question.
Can I contribute to the question you've asked?
Yes, if you can help him.
Okay, I've also done something similar to assignment 2 about AI, and I think why it's more susceptible to attacks. It's maybe the high value of data on black markets. It's one of the things I found while I was researching on the information system I was doing. Like you see, like personal information, people wanting to, generally the black market, and then these health systems, especially those involved with the AI. In my case, I did the IBM Watson health system. It's very complex because of multiple entry points for attackers. So the high value of data and its complex data flows make it more susceptible to cyber attacks.
That's a better answer than I'm getting from Ahmed. Ahmed, what did you learn from doing this assignment? What was your take home?
What I learned was that during my work on ASMEs, the things I learned is that AI and large language model improve knowledge management by automating data analysis and discovering patterns and making information retrieval easier. And also for ethical and social issues like privacy and bias and job loss are important considerations when using AI. And also I also learned on how to mitigate risks, such as improving transparency, like the black box nature of AI models,
But you're
securing data.
I wanted you to summarize. What did you learn from this, other than without repeating what you have presented?
Okay, I learned in general, I learned on how AI and LLM improve knowledge management system by helping discovering patterns in data, and also on how to mitigate ethical issues.
Okay, thank you very much. Difficult to understand your accent, but we have struggled. At least me, I have struggled to understand what you're saying. Felista, I think, thank you very much. Felista, you can proceed.
Okay. So I'll be presenting on decentralized finance information systems. During my internship, I was attached at the Algorand Foundation, which is a blockchain company, and I got to deal with some decentralized finance applications and information systems. So these are some of the things we'll go through, and a description of the information system. So the DeFi information system, it's built on blockchain technology, and it's used to manage other decentralized applications that run on the blockchain. And it enables peer-to-peer transactions where users can transact directly with each other. They can lend money, they can borrow money with each other. There is no need for intermediaries. It also enables smart contracts, which these are automated agreements that execute themselves when certain conditions are met. And these smart contracts facilitate the lending and borrowing and the trading activities. The system also enables transparency and security because in the blockchain technology, or rather the infrastructure, the transactions are publicly sorry for that, recorded and immutable. So anyone can see the transaction that happened and it's unchangeable. That's what immutable means. And cross-border financial services, this means that I can send money to someone who is in the US in a matter of seconds, or in another continent, anywhere and everywhere in the world. So some of the ethical issues and social issues in IS, I'll just go through quickly: privacy, security, accuracy, ownership, access and digital divide, and accountability and responsibility. So this is in general, generally information systems, but if we narrow down to decentralized finance information systems, we see that some of the ethical issues involved include privacy and anonymity concerns, because in decentralized finance, it operates in an anonymous state. Like if you want to transact or send money to someone, they don't know your name. You only need a public address and the address of the person you're sending to, and you can send them money. So that address is usually a hexadecimal address, which is 16 values, some zeros and X. It's a mixture of numbers and letters. So you don't know who's sending money. And this can result to illegal activities such as money laundering or fraud. And this is actually a really big issue, because sometimes Bitcoin can be used for money laundering or those illegal activities. There's also security risks. They are prone to vulnerabilities, which leads to loss of finances. A lot of money is usually lost in this space because of security hacks. There's also lack of accountability, because there is no clear authority responsible for the management of the platform. In this DeFi, there is no central authority, and there are no policies set that govern, what will happen if you lose money or such accidents. There's also financial inclusion versus exploitation. Because this is fairly a newer technology, it's kind of complex to use, and there can be technical barriers, and this can unintentionally exclude low-income individuals or people with limited technical literacy. If you go to the social issues, you can see that there's digital divide and financial exclusion, because you need some kind of technical literacy to transact using these DeFi applications. And also you need access to internet, which is not accessible to everyone. So this can lead to some kind of exclusion. Another social issue is employment displacement, where people, especially in the banking sectors, lose jobs because you don't need a bank teller to lend money or borrow money. You can just log in to go to our website, you borrow money, you lend money, so you don't need that intermediary. So that can lead to loss of jobs. And regulatory and legal uncertainty. As I said before, there is no clear policies in this DeFi area, or rather blockchain technology. So illegal activities that are carried out, there is no legal repercussions. So if you lose your money, or such accidents happen, it's done. You're umeona dust. You can't retrieve your money. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it if you lose your money, because there is no regulatory compliance is set. So if I was, how would I mitigate these issues in DeFi? I would strengthen privacy and security. First, I would implement advanced security protocols through regular audits and vulnerability assessments, because again, DeFi, it's like 100% it deals with money. So you need to conduct regular audits, make sure that your smart contracts are audited, so that when users use your application, they don't wasione dust. And two, user education.
A way of putting that in English.
Yes,
When
they
you
don't see.
can't write that in an exam paper.
Okay, sure. They don't
Yeah.
see dust. Anyway, Okay, user education. Okay, I would educate my users on how to use smart contracts, and if these security breaches happen, how to avoid these security breaches, such as ensuring your private keys are private to you and only you, so that you don't lose money. I would also enforce regulatory compliance through know your customer and anti-money laundering practices. So these two things will mitigate illegal activities such as money laundering and fraud, especially know your customer, because as I said, in this space, you only operate with a public address. So if there is a name and email attached to that public address, I'll know that this person was involved in this illegal activity, and I won't be in the dark.
You hurry up and
Oh,
finish.
yeah. Okay. Also, collaborating with financial regulators such as CBK about emerging regulations. This can build trust and avoid legal complications. I would improve accessibility and inclusivity through user-friendly interface design and lowering transaction fees in the DeFi applications. I would also ensure accountability and transparency through clear governance structures and dispute resolution mechanisms. And finally, I would bridge the digital divide through partnerships for financial literacy. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This technology is not very widely. In fact, hardly anybody in the financial services sector has implemented this, because CBK has been worried about some of the issues that you raise.
Yeah.
And I don't know, are you using blockchain in your fourth year project?
Yes.
You're using blockchain.
Yes.
Applied in which area?
In real world asset tokenization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions to Lista? We hope the financial sector will start soon experimenting with this. I'm in one of the financial institutions, and we want to start trying some of this technology and maybe prove to CBK that their worries are not warranted.
Yeah, I agree. You should as soon as possible.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Thank you very much, Felista. We will have Mutinda Elvis.
Okay. Let me know if you can see the screen and if I'm audible.
You are audible, and I think we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so for my exam on hospital information system, which is a system I worked on during my past internship at IntelliSoft a year ago. And some of the key features that are in the system are the patient records management, scheduling and appointments, billing information, laboratory and pharmacy, and ethical issues and social issues in this information system. Most of these have been mentioned, so I'll quickly go over them. One is data privacy, which is basically how data is managed and stored in this system, transparency, who has access to this data and how it's shared. However, accountability, who is responsible for in case something goes wrong in the system, to be held accountable for that. Algorithmic bias, which is, for example, gender discrimination. You can find a black treated unfairly than a white guy. We have intellectual property theft. I'm sure most of us are huge consumers of this, whereby we can get products for free online instead of paying for them, which I'm not against. We have social issues, which is a digital divide, where you can find that technology in the rural areas is not really well implemented in urban areas. Also have job displacements, where automation, it has led to automation of work. So people jobs. A lot. You also have misinformation where information is spread which is not true. So some of these ethical issues in the hospital information system, the main one is patient privacy, where sensitive patient information might leak. Also accuracy and integrity, where you can find like if patient data is entered incorrectly, can lead to wrong diagnostics and lead to more problems. Also have consent for data use. Most of us don't know how our data is used in these hospital systems, what they do with it. We just go to the hospital and we're treated. Also have data security, because hospitals store a lot of data. And this data can include like our information, insurance, and sometimes financial information. So that can lead to a lot of problems. I also have social issues in the HIS. One of them is access to care, whereby low income or people in the rural areas don't get access to these information systems. For example, a hospital in my hometown in Makueni, I don't think they usually use these systems a lot at the times I've been there. I also have doctor-patient interaction where you can find the doctor and the patient don't interact much. They just get the information from the system and that's it. I also have cultural sensitivity where some cultures might be not for some kinds of treatments. They might be against those things. Also, of reliance on technology, whereby doctors might rely mostly on the information gotten from the system instead of using their knowledge learned in school and so on. Also, of the job displacement issues, where automated billing and appointment scheduling may lead to job displacements for some of these staffs in the hospital. So how I would mitigate these issues, one is encrypting sensitive data. So this is the patient information, encrypting those kind of those data, implementing like audit trails to keep track of who's accessing the system and what changes they make into the system. Ensure equal use of AI algorithms that don't reflect these social classes, for gender and races. Also have providing clear consent policies so that users are aware of how the data will and who shared with it. The longevity of this is how systems are supposed to design and implement. Example of this is how the WHO how their systems of how implement training stuff training to ensure that
your connection is not very good, but you should move to finalize.
Okay. These are my sources of information.
I want us to discuss something. I want you to respond to this question. This informed consent in the use of information collected from a user, like in the hospital system. If the hospital decides to use that information in a particular way without your consent, what recourse do you have? And how can you mitigate against this
issue?
Yes, proceed and answer the question. Mutinda. Mutinda seems to have a problem.
He has disconnected.
Oh, he has disconnected. But let's think about this question. When you go to your social media platforms, when you go to an e-commerce platform, you leave a lot of information about yourself. And these companies can use that information for all kinds of things. To sell that information, they can sell that information to companies that want to sell products to people. And all of a sudden, then you are bombarded with advertisements for this and for that, and you wonder where did this information, where do they get information about me from? What are your views about this and how we can mitigate against this?
I want to answer a bit.
Yes.
So, especially on the e-commerce and the healthcare industry.
Yes.
So first of all, our phones and our laptops come with cookies, and a lot of the times when you're clearing your browser, personally, I have a problem clearing my cookies because it means every time I have to come back, I have to sign into almost 20 more sites for development, which is a lot of work. And now data brokers are using the information on these cookies to sell to various parties. This is why you find something like Google and their AdSense program. I think it was recently that I'm just looking at US from a standpoint, and I think the Supreme Court ruled that Google was a monopoly based on the fact that the first search browser we think of is Google, and at the same time we ask ourselves, why have I been recommended Jumia on Google? I think most developers in this class will attest to the fact that recently on YouTube, if you don't have ad block, you've been getting daily.dev adverts a lot. I know I have. I don't use it a lot, but I'm getting those adverts. So data brokers in Kenya, especially, I don't know how we do it, how we handle data brokers, because that's a ramp. Even the insurers are selling data right now as well. That's another problem that's occurring. So for me, I think there should be like more stringent rules. Someone mentioned HIPAA in their slides, the Health Insurance Portability Act. That's one rule that I think is very stringent on, data brokers and more transparency between, third-party vendors of data. So I think in Kenya, there's a huge problem. Even in the US, misinformation attacks. Like recently I saw related but unrelated in a vulgar way. But a politician who is running for, I think, the governor in North Carolina, because he used cookies on his laptop many years ago, data on him was kept where he visited various adult sites and made very, very, very horrible comments, yes. But you ask yourself, it's been, those were comments made in 2008. This is 16 years later. You ask yourself, data on him was sitting at rest somewhere about all these things that he did, and he had no idea that this happened. And they didn't even identify him by his real name. He made, so they identified him by his username. Like if I go to a site, I'll sign up as Kurosaki Aduma, not my Tevin Aduma. That's too obvious. But through various algorithms, they were able to identify his username was called Mini Soldier, but his real name is Tim Robinson, I think. But they were able to find all this data on him, and now he might lose the election. So we need more rules to tighten up.
Yes. Very good. That's a very good one. Anybody else? And let's say these people they sell the information about you, and they make money out of it. Should you have a small portion of that money because they made money out of your data? Are you entitled to the money they make out of selling your data? What are your thoughts?
Yes, I think
yes.
You're entitled. How would we enforce this? How do we make sure that this is done?
Enforcing might be difficult.
There's transparency around it.
Enforcing might be difficult. I don't know if you've come across some websites that people, especially people who are usually sales, let me just put it sales, they're usually in the business development teams, but they're really just salespeople, and they get data from websites which have scraped data from other websites like LinkedIn and such. And I feel like it's very wrong. And even recently, I think one of the sites was actually highlighted in a Reddit post, and it was very difficult to get your data removed from that website. They take a very long time to even remove it. So I don't know, maybe putting more stricter laws around even the data itself within in Kenya, Africa. I think in other countries it's much they have to be very compliant, but in Africa or specifically Kenya, it's very difficult to actually for them to actually follow up on that. But I think there was a certain I don't know if it's a group that they had say that they would want to build such a project such that people can share their data and get compensated for the data that they share.
Thank you very much, Melissa. What about anybody else before we move to Immaculate?
Yes, I believe there's legal recourse, especially now in Kenya with the Data Protection Act. So someone can actually take legal recourse for like their consent. I believe there's I think a time, maybe last year, but there was a Kasavera launch was, I think it was fined by the Office of the Data Protection Commission, for posting someone's images without their consent. So I believe in Kenya right now, we can actually use legal recourse. Yes.
Okay, very good. I can see Onyanko Bentley has given some link. Onyango, do you want to tell us what the link is all about? In 2 words, in 1 minute. Okay. He doesn't seem to be connected. But we will move to Immaculate. Immaculate, please proceed and make a presentation.
Okay. Let me present. So during my internship, I interacted with a school information system at Lansoft Bibliotech Solutions. And the information system is basically designed to meet it is for primary schools and specifically for CBC to manage school functions and enhance efficiency by automating the school processes from the administration, from academic tracking, communication with parents, and all that processes in a school. So the general ethical considerations information system has been mentioned: data privacy, security, ownership, and control of data, equity and digital divide, accountability, and also transparency. And for those specifically for the school information system, there are several of them, but these are the 4 are key: data privacy and confidentiality. For a school system stores information about maybe students, about parents, and all that. And if the information is accessed and by unauthorized individuals and maybe that party, it can lead to something like maybe bias or discrimination. Yeah. And for inequality, these systems much as we have school systems, but we realize that for the local schools, these systems are actually not there. when you go to those rural areas, the systems are actually not there. And maybe from where I come from, so that digital, that is that inequality and that digital divide will be due to geographical locations and maybe the skills of the people in the area. And then for the access control, because of the different users that interact with the system, from the teachers, administration, even the parents, there is the need. There is the need to allow access to the specific part of the system, depending on the user and the roles that have been defined. If it's a teacher, there should be a part of the system that they are supposed to interact with. And for the transparency and consent, most of the parents and even students, they don't know, they don't fully have that information about the system and about the data. Yes, they may know the system, but how the data that they provide is used, they have no idea about. And that's like maybe that's the reason, like you have to do like demo and trainings and all that, but they don't understand. They just understand the system, but their data, how it is used, there is lack of that information and transparency. And maybe they just give their data and they have no information about it. So for if I were an information, how I would mitigate the ethical and the social issues. So, for example, we have the aspect of data security. It should be ensured that for a school system that things like encryption, and security audits should be conducted to identify vulnerabilities early enough before the damage is big. Yeah, and for the role, it also implement role-based access control, whereby you just define the users and what they are supposed to do. The system is for a parent, for example, the teacher. The teacher should only see maybe student performance, but maybe you hide the personal data about the student. And even when this data, when the students are researching to the system, they just give the information that is needed and not data that maybe is not needed. And the administrator and the teacher, they only access the data that is required at that particular time. Then for digital inequality, let's say, for example, these systems, you're saying that most of these systems, they are implemented, but maybe the schools in the towns and in the cities are the ones that use this. So what about the schools that are maybe in the rural areas? We need to also cater for them, and maybe in those areas there is no internet, so you cannot access a system. The skills over there, the student, the student, the teacher, they are just used to maybe the normal way, the paperwork and all that. So if we could have
you need to finish quickly in the next 1 minute.
offline features and also trainings for those, and even for students that maybe are having maybe challenges, physical challenges like the blind. The system should also integrate and put that into consideration. Yeah, for transparency, you need there is the aspect of training the students, the teachers, and every stakeholder of the system to understand about the data. Yeah, and then that is it.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any questions on this school information system and the ethical and social issues? One of the big challenges, by the way, in all these things is the literacy, the data literacy and the digital literacy of the general public. people are exploited because they are not aware. This is something that is so critical in eliminating some of these issues or reducing some of these, the magnitude of some of these challenges. So you guys, you have a lot of work to do as you get into the world of work. All these issues will be faced with these issues in your organizations and in society in general. We keep on debating them, some of these issues of exploitation. Like, for example, the big techs make a lot of money from our countries, but what do they give us? What do they give back? To the people who have contributed that data, the infrastructure they are using, all this mobile operator infrastructure, network infrastructure they are using for our operators within the country. And they probably make more money than our operators from the data that they make. And then the internal data that the users of those, like any of the big techs, any of them, and then willing to share this money. And the government is, we have been discussing this issue, the government is unwilling to engage them because most of these big techs would be related to their home governments. Like big techs are from the US. And if you try to threaten them that you want to share the money they make, then you start getting some sanctions from the US government because these companies are quite linked to the government of their host country. And they are in, you would imagine it's like they are in cahoots together to exploit all these other countries and make money for the US. It's a big issue. It's a big issue that has been under discussion for a while. Some of the big techs have been kicked out of some countries because of their refusal to share some of the money they make out of the country. But do they care? They have so many other countries to go to. If you are a small country like Kenya, I mean, you can't threaten a big tech like Facebook. Maybe if we were united as Africa, maybe we could. But a small country, you'll be told you are too small. The revenue we get from you is 0.000 something. We will shut Facebook in Kenya and we'll move on. But if it's a big market like Africa, it's a challenge. You have a bargaining power, but we do not have that kind of unity to face some of these deep-pocketed big techs. What are your views, guys? Anyone? Anyone with any views? Okay. Can we do one more? Let's do one more. Let's do one more. The next person who is to present is who is it? You have put down your hands. Oh, yes, it is you, Hassan. So can you start speaking? And you have strictly 5 minutes.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so during my attachment, I was working in a company that was providing a Teams platform to our carrier companies. So the information system I came across was Transportation Information Management System, or Teams in short. And what this Teams is a platform that provides these logistic and carrier companies a way to manage all their company in one platform. These are like load management, vehicles, the driver management, billing and information, everything, their paperwork, such that they will be able to book a load from one place to another, assign it to a vehicle and a driver, be it delivered, then get the paperwork, submit it for funding, all this efficiency in all these services in one place. So this was the information system I come across, and some of the ethical concerns, the ethical and social issues with respect to information system, of course, are the privacy, the accuracy, the accountability, access,
Yeah,
and
this one
equality.
we have been told by many people. Move to the
So in specifically, so let's take the first one as a privacy concern. This is one thing about this is like these carrier companies, their trucks are connected to something called ELDs, electronic something that's for logging. This logging now it will log the information into the platform. So this logging information can include like the real-time tracking where the vehicle is. If the vehicle stops an undesignated position for more than 15 minutes, it will send a notification to everyone. So now you are tracking the truck and a driver at any time. To make it worse, this information is shared to a broker company whose load is getting delivered. So the first thing is a privacy concern. Second thing is security issues. This is because of the financial transaction. Once a load is delivered, you are given some rate confirmation, BOL, some invoices that you have to submit it to a third company called a factoring company that will pay you. So if these paperwork are not handled and everyone can access it, that means there will be data breaches and security issues. Another one is some accuracy and reliability. This is, for example, if say that you delivered a load and you have some paperwork that are missing, the information on your paperwork have some information, or the information on the paperwork have some info or data that is missing, you will often find that your funding has been rejected for a load you delivered and you have not been paid simply because your data is not accurate in your paperwork. Another one is accountability and responsibility. As I have said previously, there is this surveillance within the truck and driver, such that the truck at any point its location is tracked by not only the company, but also have access to a third-party brokerage company that's also surveilling. So there have to be some accountability on how they use this data. So how can we mitigate now some of these ethical issues as an information system manager? The first thing is enhanced privacy. We should have such a way that the system will be able to opt in and opt out features like tracking, such that if, let's say, I'm providing the tracking login path to a brokering company whose load is getting delivered, I should be able to opt in when the load is starting and kick out when their load is delivered, for that, so that they don't have any business with where the truck or the driver is. So they should be that opt in and opt out for location tracking. Second thing is strength and security measures, introducing like IAM and the user roles, such that not everyone on the platform should be able to access the logins, the financials, documents, everything. Everyone should be able to access only some parts. But they are dispatchers, they are drivers, they are their own operators on the platform. All these are different users. So they will only access, they should be assigned some roles. Another one is mitigating over surveillance. Over surveillance, yeah, we are providing again the surveillance to some third party. They have to be a way of mitigating now this one, and you only use it such a way you are increasing the operation efficiency, but not to punish a driver. Let's say you figured out a driver was standing in a particular place for more than 15, the ELD sent a message to everyone. You don't have to call the driver and then tell him what he's doing there. You just improve operation efficiency. Another one is about ensure that data accuracy and reliability. You have to introduce the system such that it will be able to figure out what information are missing, what paperwork are missing before the information is submitted to a factoring company. Because if you don't now verify your accuracy of data, you will end up, you wait for 1-2 days thinking you will be paid, and then everything gets rejected. So you have to introduce some way of making that, ensuring your data accuracy within the platform. Another one is developing policies for the truck and driver data collection. So this is a way that you don't have to collect anything. The ELD will log everything, the location, the number of hours the driver has been driving, everything. Some even have like cameras attached to it, such that the ELD now will be able to show the driver camera or the dash cam, whatever it is called. You don't need all of this. If it is the only location you need, just collect the information about where the location is. So some of the ways of mitigating the information system.
Okay, let me ask you a question. In your mitigation, you seem to be concerned about the driver and their privacy and so on and so forth. But you also should be concerned about the owner of the trucks. They have a need to monitor for efficiency and for all manner of reasons. So how do you, everybody has a right. So how do you balance these two rights? I have the right to know where my truck is, whether it is being used efficiently, the driver is doing his own business, or I have a reason to do that, but the driver also has a reason to have his privacy. How do you balance between these two, Hassan?
Okay, for the truck owners, like these guys, they own the truck, so they are managing everything on the truck, and this ALD is attached on the truck. So if they wanted to know where the driver is, what he's doing, they can access anytime. So I
Yes.
guess the right should be more on the driver than the truck owner, because the truck owner, he owns the truck, he can see where his truck is, what the truck
So he has
is
no
being done.
business monitoring the driver himself.
Yeah, no, but the driver is using the truck. So if you are monitoring the truck at the same time, you'll be monitoring the driver.
Yes.
Because if the truck is moving, that means the driver that is driving. So you will be able to see how many hours consecutively this driver.
Focus on the truck, don't focus on the driver.
Yeah, you focus on the truck.
Any other views from anybody else? Okay, we'll stop there for today. We shall look for another opportunity for the others to make a presentation.